Quad 66.
And Captain Ryder here.
What are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about the Newbeedrone Azi props.
Yep. And what is special about the Newbeedrone Azi props? Or is there nothing special about them?
There's nothing! Nothing at all!
I guess there's nothing special about it.
Yes.
Okay. So
not.
let's start with the brushed build. And so this is a Newbeedrone. This is a B-Brain Light, and it's a brushed motor. And this is whose quad?
My quad.
Okay. And so you had been flying on Beta FPV tri-blades, and then we went to the Azis, and now we're on the GemFan quad blades.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the Azi props?
The Azi props, I would give them an F because they were just. So we have our kitchen chairs, which we use as gates, and I really need to control them to get. I really need to control the quad to get through them. But these props were super hard to control the drone when I was going through those gates.
Okay, so when you're trying to go slow throttle and control through turns, there's two things that you really have to work on, right? One is the cornering, and that's how grippy the prop is. So did you feel like these props were grippy, or did they slide around on you?
Slide around.
Yeah, so they slide around a little bit, so that was one problem. And then how easy was it to manage the throttle and keep a consistent height? Could you like keep a nice consistent height and pop right through the gate, or were you bouncing too high and too low?
Bouncing too high and too low.
Hey.
Okay. I guess he's mad that we left him out of the video.
He feels bad.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that was the issue. So now that was an F. You gave that an F?
Yes.
Like,
F.
Totally unusable.
Okay.
And how about when you got into bigger open spaces? Was it as bad, or was it better, or was it different, or the same?
I would say it was a little better. Like,
Okay.
for that, I would give it probably just a decent C, because
Like middle of the road, like a C? Okay.
yeah, middle of the road. It was pretty smooth, nice.
Yeah, and I think when we're looking at overall flight time, it seemed like maybe you're getting a little bit longer flights on them, so maybe a little bit better efficiency. But overall, so if you're trying to race, which props are you going with? Are you going with the GemFan quad blades, or are you going with the Azis when you're trying to race me?
So the Azis, not very good at all. These, perfect for racing.
Yep. So I agree, and these are known. Like, people like these GemFan quad blades, and I agree. The GemFan quad blades on the brushed build, much better. Okay. So let's talk about the brushless. So this is a Hummingbird brushless, and I also flew them on Azis, and so we got a set of the 1mm and the 0.8mm. Oh jeez, look at this guy. And I actually thought on the brushless, they were a much more viable prop. I still, at the end of the day, went back to the GemFans because of the same reasons as on the brushed quad. And so, the same issues of like when I'm trying to get into tight spaces and I'm trying to manage the throttle and manage the grip around these tight little gates, I felt like I could do it a lot better on the quad blades. Maybe not a lot better, but definitely better. It felt sharper and more controlled. The other place where I had an issue was when I was descending and coming down from, we do this thing, we kind of go up high in the kitchen and there's like high ceilings and kind of come down. And with the quad blades, I can arrest that fall really easily and control it. On the Azis, sometimes that would get away from me a little bit. Like if I tried to descend too fast, then I would run out of like ability to stop that. And so that was the other issue. So I ended up going back to the quad blades, even though these are definitely less efficient, and definitely on these 0802s, I'm really kind of hurting my batteries. They're pretty old batteries, and they're not holding up very well. I'm only getting like 2 minutes, but if I'm flying, I want to fly something I enjoy, and I honestly, on on the Azis, I just didn't really enjoy it as much as the quad blades, to the point where I'm willing to deal with that. And I didn't pick up a huge amount of flight time on the Azis. I picked up maybe a little bit, and I just felt it was overall not worth it. So on the in open, let me kind of put a clarification there. In open spaces, when you're on the throttle on the Azis, they're fine. you know, with the exception of like the difficulty of catching the scents. So if I had to rate them, I would say compared to the gem fan props, like so for tight stuff, for grip, I would give it a B compared to the gem fan A on grip. I would give it throttle, you know, modulation, I would give it kind of like a B minus compared to an A on the gem fan. Efficiency, I would give it, you know, compared to the gem fan, I would give it like an A compared to like a B minus on the gem fan. Overall speed, we're not really figuring it out because we're not flying too much outside. So it's like kind of moot point there. But so overall, I would say it's a viable prop. It's sort of like, you know, depending what you're looking for, it's not horrible on brushless. It's not my go-to, but that's kind of my thoughts on it. All right. Anything else you want to add on that, Ryder?
No.
Yep. Okay.
Till next time. Cheers.
Cheers. Man, what do you do? This looks funny. Look away. Hey guys.
Oh no.